Hello and welcome to the Paris Fintech Forum Communities Programme. I'm Elliot Gotkin. I'm a journalist and with Laurent Nisri, co-host of this exclusive video interview series produced with the support of Solaris Bank, Rise and BPI France. Now, many of the unicorniest insurtechs out there seem to be in the homeowners or renters insurance space. But there is a new one-horned equine on the block, and its focus is on the somewhat trickier market of health insurance. The company is Alan, and its co-founder and CEO is Jean-Charles Samuelian-Werve, who joins me now. Great to see you, Jean-Charles.
Hi, Elliot. Great to see you. Hi, everyone.
And I think you're over there in Paris. How are things over there?
It's going well. We see that the number of cases are going down slightly, which is a good hope for our healthcare system that, as you know, we invest a lot as a company, and we try to make it more efficient, more accessible. So I think it's good news for everyone.
Okay, well, you've given us a little taster of what Alan is about. Perhaps you can tell us more. It's kind of like health insurance a la carte for enterprises. Is that more or less right?
What we are trying to build with Alan is a healthcare super app, meaning the place where you're going to get access to prevention, proactive care, information, access to care, whether that care is digital or physical, in one app bundled with health insurance. And indeed, health insurance is our foundation, and we add a lot of services on top of that. Our distribution has been mainly through companies from 1 employee to few thousands, and we are operating now in 3 countries, France, Spain, and Belgium. So we are building that healthcare super app at the European level, and it's very, very exciting.
Right, and in April you had some very exciting news, a $220 million fundraise, giving you a valuation of around $1.7 billion. So congratulations for that. It's a lot of money. Is this just to expand geographically, or are you looking to expand beyond health and insurance, perhaps into other fintech and insurtech verticals?
No, it's mostly to focus on what we are doing and to keep that flywheel going. And our flywheel is about making healthcare more instant, making healthcare more accessible, meaning cheaper and clearer, and making healthcare delightful for everyone and personalized. And that's the investment that we keep doing. So it's going to be about mostly hiring the team, product for more healthcare services, more personalization depending on who you are. And international expansion is going to be part of it, but starting 2022. We are still fresh in Spain and Belgium, starting to see a very strong product market fit, and we want to consolidate that approach for the next year at least. So again, it's what we try to build in our healthcare super app, and what we are going to build this year is this layer of healthcare companion in your pocket, where you have a dedicated care team with nurses, specialists, GPs that are working with you to give you a 5-star experience of healthcare. We are going to do that at the European level. There are also a few verticals where we are going to invest, such as mental health. We keep investing a lot in parenting, which are 2 topics that we find really exciting. And we launched a free B2C app named Alan Baby for new parents in France, which is growing pretty well, even if it's still the beginning. And of course, we keep consolidating on our B2B core product, signing larger and larger companies in every country we are.
Right, and I suppose with a fundraising of the size that you just had and with a valuation of that size, many people will be wondering if the next step is an IPO and if that's likely to happen sooner rather than later.
It's not really the question we ask ourselves, in fact, so it's more later than sooner. We are more focused on building the company and the products. We've just passed the 100 million of annualized recurring revenue, which is great, but our market, and in France, is 50 billion. At the European level, it's over 150 billion if you take only health insurance. And so, like, the road is ahead of us. We still have a lot to build. We are focused on that for the next few years, and it's not the plan at all to IPO.
Okay, now for all Alan's successes, it's actually not your first startup. You had a previous business that took off in a slightly different way, didn't it?
Yeah, it was in aerospace, using the word takeoff is on point because it was an aircraft seat company. It was really interesting because it was an industrial company in a very regulated market where there were very few new entrants in decades. And I think it's the same thing we are trying to apply in a topic that is really important to me, which is healthcare, coming from a doctor family and a hospital manager parents. And we believe that that crossing of highly regulated markets with huge consumer needs that has been underserved for decades, thanks to regulations, thanks to player with kind of a very solid position, is great to innovate because it's usually big markets, usually markets where there have been very little innovation because everybody was kind of happy with the status quo. The status quo became the norm almost. And that's what I learned from that first company and that we are applying at Alan.
And what specifically was it doing? What was the revolutionary thing you were bringing to aircraft seating?
We divided, in fact, the weight of an aircraft seat by 2 or 3, being the first seat in composite and titanium, which was a lot of new patents, like there is 40 patents, new manufacturing processes. So it's how you increase comfort and decrease weight for fuel and CO2 savings. And I think that's what consumers want today. They don't want to do compromise anymore. So it's not just about decreasing weight or increasing comfort. You have to do both at the same time. I think for healthcare, it's the same thing. You have to have better outcome, better experience, and lower costs. And that's really how we think about building product at Alan, is how we don't make compromise and how we just bring other aspects without trade-off.
Right. Hopefully, you weren't responsible for reducing legroom for people in economy class. Did you sell that business? Was it an exit for you? Was it a success?
Yeah, it was an exit for me. I think the stars aligned quite well when I had that urge to focus on healthcare. Losing one of my grandfather to cancer, we had a big secondary opportunity at that time. So I made a transition with an industrial and moved to create Alan, which was a teenager dream, I would say.
Well, you say it was a dream, a teenage dream. Was being an
Since I'm a
entrepreneur
teenager,
always?
I wanted to focus on healthcare. I've started building website when I was 12, tried to build website for my parents, didn't work out. So I would say that building stuff for health was something I wanted to do. The question was when. And at some point it felt that I could not spend one more minute not doing it. And luckily for me, Charles, my co-founder, was at a stage where I managed to convince him to quit Silicon Valley and Twitter to start a new venture. And that's how we started.
Entrepreneur is, of course, a French word in origin. I mean, was that something you always wanted to do? You always wanted to kind of, build your own company, or it was just the healthcare thing that really appealed to you?
I think it was a combination of both. I felt that building a company, and I had one role model, which was who was the father of one of my friends from childhood, who made me think that building stuff as an entrepreneur, even if I didn't really knew the name and what it meant, was something that would fit me more than working in the corporate world. That I was kind of sure.
And you're also an author. You wrote a book on company management. I haven't had a chance to read it, so perhaps you can tell us what's the key takeaway? What's your vision for company management?
We do think that you need a healthy body to have a healthy mind, and a healthy mind to have a healthy body. So if you want to achieve great things, you need to build a company in which the culture represents the thing that you want to build. And for us at Alan, it was really important from the start that we managed to build a company culture that allows us to achieve our ambition. So it was about attracting the best in the world and giving them the power to make decisions. So our culture is about distributed ownership. So everyone at Alan is an enlightened despot who make a lot of decisions, but they are enlightened, meaning that they gather information, they gather feedback. But it's not a democracy. In order to do that, we are radically transparent. So people make good decisions. And being radically transparent means all salary and equity are accessible. We share equity with everyone. All information, data, for example, our Series D process, every step was known by the team at every stage. And it did not leak from the team because we create that relationship of trust. It's also about being member obsessed and how you make your decision, think member first all the time, being very ambitious and working backward. And that combination of radical transparency, digging deeper to be member first, distributed ownership led us to remove most meetings. So we have a kind of a very distributed, asynchronous, written approach to our company, and a very intense feedback loop where we keep high talent density, we help people grow a lot, and we ask them to help the company grow by improving the way we work.
Okay, very interesting. Well, look, Jean-Charles, don't go away now because we're going to take a very quick break. After which, we're going to continue our conversation with Alan co-founder and CEO Jean-Charles Samuelian-Werve. Welcome back. And don't forget, if you're not already a full member of our community, everything you need can be found at www.parisfintechforum.com. And now, Jean-Charles, I've got a few more questions for you. So let's talk a bit more in general about the fintech and insurtech ecosystem, or the health tech ecosystem as well. And I want to start by asking you about competition. We see a kind of land and expand strategy with many fintechs, insurtech starting in one area, be it banking or trading or insurance, and then moving into others. The result, of course, is that everyone kind of ends up, competing with each other. Do you see the same thing happening with insurance and insurtechs as well, that eventually you're all going to end up overlapping and competing with one another?
I do think that a few insurance companies and tech companies see them as very horizontal, so they try to build insurance for different sectors, which I think makes sense in some aspects. It's not our strategy at Alan. We really see ourselves as a healthcare company, leveraging the power of being an insurance company because you're connected to every stakeholder, you're at the center of the system, you're where the money transfers are. And we leverage that to become that healthcare super app. I don't think that would make a lot of sense for us to start to build an auto insurance or some kind of other insurance product. I do think that it will be the strategy of a few companies. I believe that our customer needs and member needs are so deep in healthcare, and it needs to be an integrated journey, that our strategy will be really focused on that and not on trying to build the new generation of insurance companies that are too vertical, in my opinion, too horizontal, in my opinion.
Right. So perhaps we'll be referring to you simply as a health tech company rather than an insurtech company in the future. How do the axes and the alliances fit in here for insurtechs such as yourselves? I mean, do you, since we're still calling you an insurtech for now, do you consider them partners? Are they friends? Are they enemies? Are they frenemies? How do you and they kind of fit into this kind of grander ecosystem?
I think that we don't spend a lot of time as a company focus on what they do. We try to be more focused on what our member needs, what our customers, companies need, and how they make decisions, and how we can create a new category from insurance to healthcare super app and a healthcare and well-being subscription. So I would not have a smart answer to your question. For me, indeed, we are competing on some deals. When we sign a company, we take it away from another insurance company. So I guess it's more competitors than friends, but it doesn't mean that it has to be aggressive or it has to be a fight. It just, we try to do the thing that is right for our members, right for the ecosystem. We try to improve the way we access healthcare. And I feel that if you are relentlessly obsessed on that, it's a way to win and to build a very large company. If you spend too much time thinking about your competition, you end up being less inventive, in my opinion.
Right. And just on the kind of health side of things, telehealth has exploded during the pandemic. Is the demand for telehealth and the growth that we've seen, is that something that you see as being sustainable? Do you think it's going to, are we going to continue to see the lines blurring between maybe health and fintech going forward?
I do think so. Like we've seen the usage of our medical chat and telemedicine through video increase a lot, and we believe that it's a really good trend for the system where your interaction with the healthcare system is going to be multimodal, where you are going to go through physics exam, you're going to have digital conversations that can be audio, video, chat. You can talk with other patients, with other people like you. That's really our mission, to merge all the things in one places where you can have the right touch point at the right time. So I really believe in a big convergence of the two, where payments and reimbursement, so the insurance risk management infrastructure is going to be really embedded into that, because without it, it doesn't work. But that is going to be a support of all the healthcare services and needs, proactive or reactive, that people have.
Okay, well, we certainly look forward to seeing how things pan out, both for health tech, insurtech, and of course for Alan. But I'm afraid we've actually run out of time now. So I really just want to thank you, Alan, co-founder and CEO, Jean-Charles Samuelian-Werve, for taking the time to join us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Elliot.
Okay, and bon chance for 2021. And I'll be back next week with another big name from the world of finance and technology. Hope you'll join us again then. In the meantime, you can keep up to date with all the exclusive interviews and content from the Paris Fintech Forum Communities Program via www.parisfintechforum.com. That's it from me. See you next time. Bye-bye.